Imagine staring down a rising tide of water in a fast food bathroom stall in a totally foreign country.
Oh, God. Just the worst.
Right. You have absolutely zero tools. You don't speak a word of the language. And if you step outside to get help, you are going to completely miss a 26-hour train ride across China.
It is literally the ultimate nightmare scenario for a traveler.
It really is.
Yeah.
And it's the exact moment where grand, highly intellectual travel philosophy violently collides with, well, the most primal physical disaster you can imagine.
Yeah, the physical world always wins.
It does. I mean, think about your own travels recently. If you are anything like me, your smartphone is the command center, right? We have live GPS, we have instant translation apps, we read like 50 reviews before picking a coffee shop.
Oh, absolutely. We engineer all the friction out of the journey.
Exactly. If your battery drops to even 10%, panic sets in. Because we rely on this digital safety net to ensure we never, ever have to experience true chaos.
We refuse to be uncomfortable.
We do, which is why I'm so thrilled to welcome you back to our ongoing deep dive here on No Signal. We are continuing our exploration of Marcy's 2001 Transasian backpacking journey.
A completely different world.
It really was. For those just joining us, we are looking at a strictly analog era. No smartphones, no hyper-connected safety nets. We've followed Marcy from his native Hokkaido, hitchhiking all the way down through Japan to Kyushu, crossing into South Korea, and today he has just landed in China.
And this brings us to a massive philosophical theme.
Yes, the core question I really want you to keep in the back of your mind today is this. What actually happens when we strip away our digital safety nets and are forced to completely surrender to the raw, unpredictable chaos of the real world?
Because that concept, that idea of surrender, it is the absolute backbone of his time in Shanghai. Marcy's arrival in China is supposed to be the start of this vast, romantic, continental adventure, right? But almost immediately, the physical constraints of reality just box him in.
So set the parameters of this box for us. Because he's in Shanghai, which is this massive, globally significant metropolis, but he is not acting like tourist at all.
Well, he can't. He has a strict, non-negotiable deadline hanging over him.
Right, the rendezvous.
Exactly.
Right.
He needs to eventually meet a university friend who is arriving in Hong Kong on March 2nd. To make that meeting, he has to catch a very specific, incredibly slow train from Shanghai down to Guangzhou.
Okay, so he's on the clock.
He's totally on the clock. So despite being in one of the most dynamic cities on Earth, his entire existence shrinks. He has zero time for the Bund or the historic architecture or any of that. His world just becomes the immediate radius around his dormitory and obsessively calculating train timetables.
I gotta say, I have to challenge his approach here.
Oh, really? How so?
Looking at this through a modern lens, if I know I only have one night in a megacity like Shanghai, I am weaponizing my itinerary.
Oh, you're packing it all in.
Yeah, absolutely. I am sleeping on the bus. I am booking an express night tour. I am finding the most famous dumpling house on TripAdvisor. Why is he just hanging around a dorm? I mean, isn't that a massive waste of an opportunity?
Well, it feels that way to our modern sensibility, sure. We suffer from this profound fear of missing out. We view a layover as a resource that has to be maximized.
Right, maximize the specs of the trip.
Exactly. But the 2001 backpacking mindset, and particularly Marcy's mindset, operates on a totally different frequency. By not forcing an artificial frantic itinerary on his short time there, he actually leaves a vacuum.
The vacuum.
Yeah, an empty space. And that vacuum allows for something completely organic to happen. While he's just existing in this dorm, not doing much of anything, he bumps into a fellow Japanese backpacker.
Okay.
And not just any backpacker, but someone from his exact hometown of Sapporo in Hokkaido.
Wait, really? That feels like finding a needle in a haystack. Mechanically speaking, just how rare is a meeting like that?
Oh, it is statistically staggering. If you look at the demographics of Japanese international backpackers in the late 90s and early 2000s, there is a massive geographic bias.
Like where they come from?
Yeah. When you ran into a fellow Japanese traveler wandering around Asia back then, they were almost entirely from the major metropolitan hubs.
So we're talking Tokyo, Osaka.
Exactly. The Kanto region, Tokyo, Yokohama, or the Kansai region down around Osaka and Kyoto. Those cities had the infrastructure, they had the massive international airports, and crucially, they had the cultural momentum that encouraged young people to take a gap year.
Oh, I see. So it was normalized there.
It was. But regional areas like Kyushu, Niigata, or in Marcy's case, the northern island of Hokkaido, they were far more culturally and economically insulated. To leave Hokkaido, fly to the mainland, and then embark on an unscripted journey across Asia required a massive leap.
It wasn't the default path.
Not at all. So finding another Sapporo native sitting in a Shanghai dorm is a profound statistical anomaly.
Man, it's like being dropped into a box containing a million foreign puzzle pieces and randomly pulling out the one single piece from your own childhood living room.
That is a great way to put it.
It has to be incredibly grounding for him.
It grounds him instantly. And that chance encounter acts as a real catalyst. It gets him analyzing the people he's met on the road, and it crystallizes into this grand sociological theory he develops about the fundamental philosophy of travel.
Oh, I love this part.
Yeah, he basically starts dividing the traveling world into two distinct camps.
And this theory is fascinating, but I warn you, if you're listening, it might actually offend you a little bit.
It definitely steps on some toes.
Because Marcy basically claims that where you grow up dictates the entire emotional purpose of your travels. So let's look at the city dwellers first. What does he say their motivation is?
Well, according to Marcy, travelers from big cities, those major metropolitan hubs we just talked about, they travel seeking what he calls specifications.
Like buying a laptop.
Yeah. They treat a destination like a set of quantifiable data points.
You want to know the processing speed, the storage capacity, the battery life. You are literally just comparing numbers.
That is the perfect analogy. The specs traveler wants to know the sheer population size of the city. They want to read the plaque stating the exact century a temple was built.
They want to see the UNESCO World Heritage logo.
Exactly. They want to verify its official status or check how many pages it commands in the Lonely Planet guidebook. They are chasing what he calls news value.
Ticking the boxes.
Picking boxes to prove to themselves and to society back home that they consumed the culturally sanctioned important things.
Okay, look, I have to play devil's advocate here for a second.
Go for it.
Isn't specs travel completely valid? I mean, if I spend thousands of dollars and endure a 13-hour flight to go to Paris, you better believe I want to see the Eiffel Tower and the Louvre.
Sure, of course.
I want to see the things that define the city. I am not going to just wander aimlessly around some nameless industrial suburb just to be contrary. Isn't Marcy's theory a little bit elitist?
It's a very fair critique. And to be clear, specs travel isn't inherently bad. But look at the mechanism behind it. Why do city dwellers seek quantifiable value?
Because they live in cities.
Because they live in hyper-quantified, metric-driven environments. Their daily lives back home are dictated by schedules, status, and measurable outputs. So they naturally apply that same exact framework to their leisure time.
Oh, wow. I hadn't thought about it like that.
Right. Marcy is arguing that this approach, while super efficient, misses the actual soul of the journey, which is why he champions the alternative. It's something he believes country dwellers like himself and his co-host Kuma instinctively seek out.
Right, the alternative, this beautifully poetic Japanese concept, Ryojo.
Ryojo.
Yes.
Explain that for us.
It roughly translates to the emotional atmosphere or the poetic sentiment of a journey. A traveler seeking Ryojo is, frankly, allergic to spec.
They don't care about the plaque. They don't care about the UNESCO plaque. They don't care about the documented history. They are looking for the atmospheric resonance of a place. They find profound meaning in an unscripted conversation with a stranger, or, simply sitting in a nameless, undocumented village, just watching the dust settle.
I love that. If the specs traveler is buying a laptop based on a spec sheet, the Ryojo traveler is listening to jazz in a smoky basement.
Oh, that's good.
They aren't counting the notes on the sheet music, right? They are feeling the space between the notes. They are absorbing the room.
Beautifully put. And philosophically, this represents a massive divide between the ego and surrender.
How so?
Well, specs travel is a function of the ego. It is about conquering a destination, collecting the visual trophies, and returning home to say, I achieved this itinerary.
Right, imposing your will on the map.
Exactly. Ryojo, on the other hand, is an act of total surrender. You have to put the guidebook away. You have to let the unpredictable environment dictate your experience. You dissolve into the location rather than trying to dominate it.
It is a deeply Eastern, almost spiritual approach to moving through the world, letting go of the self to experience the whole. And I really want you listening to ask yourself, when you plan a trip, are you chasing the specs or are you chasing the feeling?
It is a beautiful philosophy.
Yeah.
But the ultimate irony of Ryojo, of completely surrendering to your local environment, is that you are now completely at the mercy of its physical infrastructure.
Oh, man. And this brings us to the collision. Marcy has just outlined this high-minded romantic ideal of travel, but the physical world is about to humble him in the most degrading way possible.
The transition from the philosophical to the biological is painfully abrupt here.
Let's look at the mechanics of this disaster. Marcy finally has to leave the dorm. He is facing a 26-hour slow-moving train ride down to Guangzhou.
A brutal trip.
Just to put that in perspective for you, Guangzhou is roughly 1,400 kilometers away. That is like driving from New York City to Jacksonville, Florida, but doing it in a metal tube grinding along at under 80 kilometers per hour.
It is a grueling marathon of a transit. And missing this specific train throws his entire month-long schedule into total chaos.
So, ironically, for a guy who just preached the gospel of going with the flow and seeking Ryojo, he suddenly tries to buy absolute certainty.
He panics a little.
He does. He wants to control his extraction from Shanghai, so he splurges on a taxi to the train station. He is building this perfect, secure little house of cards to ensure he makes his departure.
And then, sitting in the taxi, he realizes his body is rebelling.
A massive rebellion. His biology completely betrays him. Out of nowhere, a violent stomachache hits. He suspects it might be the lingering effects of drinking way too much the night before, but whatever the cause, it is an immediate code red emergency.
We have all been there, and it is terrifying.
He is sitting in this taxi, the clock is actively ticking down to his train, and he is losing his mind. He scans the streets and begs the driver to pull over because he spots the universal beacon of emergency relief.
The Golden Arches.
A McDonald's. He sprints inside.
And this is where we have to pause. We really need to look at the actual engineering and cultural realities of China in 2001, because that context is the trap that is about to spring on him.
Yes, this is the crucial detail. Explain the plumbing situation, because a listener today might not understand why this is a life or death scenario.
So if you look at the rapid, explosive urbanization of Chinese megacities in that era, the sheer volume of construction often totally outpaced the underlying wastewater infrastructure.
The pipes couldn't keep up.
Exactly. You had these massive modern buildings relying on older, narrower pipe systems with notably weak water pressure. And then you combine that with the local manufacturing of toilet paper at the time.
Which is different from what we're used to, right?
Very different. It was generally much harsher, and crucially, it was non-water soluble.
It wouldn't break down in the water.
Right. So an absolute unbreakable cultural rule was established both in China and Korea at the time. You never, ever flush the toilet paper.
It is an ironclad law.
It is. There is always a large designated trash bin sitting right next to the toilet. If you grew up in that environment, using the bin is muscle memory. You don't even think about it.
You just do it.
Yeah. But if you grew up in Japan, which has arguably the most advanced, aggressively efficient plumbing culture on the planet.
Your muscle memory is entirely different.
Exactly. So Marcy gets to the stall. The emergency is handled. He is relieved. But in his panicked, rushed state, trying to get back to his waiting taxi, his Japanese conditioning takes over completely. Without a single conscious thought, he drops the paper into the bowl and he flushes.
Oh no, and the trap snaps shut. The physical reality of Shanghai's infrastructure violently rejects his ingrained cultural habits. The toilet instantly clogs.
The water starts rising.
It is a catastrophic failure. I mean, think about the absolute isolation of this moment. Today, if this happens, what do?
We'll pull out our phones.
We do. We text our group chats in all caps. We furiously search Reddit for, like, how to unclog a fast food toilet without a plunger. We outsource our panic to the internet.
We use the safety net.
Exactly. In 2001, Marcy is profoundly, terrifyingly alone in a bathroom stall. And the irony is exquisite. I mean, 30 minutes ago, he was theorizing about the beauty of connecting with the local environment. And right now, his absolute darkest fear is the local environment standing right outside his stall door.
It is a literal standoff. He wanted unscripted reality, and now he is drowning in it.
Literally. So he tries to fix it. He has no plunger. He tries to magically will the water down. Obviously, it doesn't work. The train clock is ticking loudly in his head. He slowly, quietly cracks the stall door and peeks out.
The tension must be agonizing.
Oh, I bet he's sweating bullets. There is one person waiting, just an innocent local guy needing to use the restroom. Marcy silently closes the door. He waits a minute, just hoping gravity does him a favor.
Gravity's not coming to save him.
No, it's not. He peeks out a second time.
And the situation has compounded.
There is now a line. 3 people are standing outside the stall just staring at the door.
Look at the variables he is calculating in this moment. The train departure is imminent. If he misses it, the entire trip is ruined. He has 0 tools to fix the plumbing. And crucially, he speaks absolutely no Mandarin.
He can't explain himself.
He cannot step out, eloquently apologize, explain the nuanced difference between Japanese and Chinese paper manufacturing, and ask for a mop. He is entirely stripped of his agency.
He is totally cornered, so he is forced to make a choice.
Yeah.
And he chooses the great escape.
He embraces the chaos.
He realizes he cannot control this. He cannot save his dignity. So he throws open the door, mentally screams an apology to the 3 victims standing in line, and he just runs.
He flees the scene.
He sprints out of the McDonald's, gets back to his transport, and miraculously manages to board his 26-hour train as a fugitive of fast food plumbing.
Escaping just as the imaginary sirens start sounding.
It's incredible, and his reflection on this event years later is so poignant. When he looks back at his time in Shanghai, he has absolutely no memories of the specs.
None at all.
None. He didn't see the famous skyline, he didn't absorb the dynastic history, he didn't walk the historic gardens. His single, solitary, defining memory of this massive global titan of a city is a clogged McDonald's toilet.
That is hilarious.
He even jokes that his ultimate penance, if he ever returns to Shanghai, won't be to sightsee. It will be to arrive with a set of professional plumbing snakes to clean a toilet.
Which is brilliant because it actually proves his own theory right, just in the most backward way possible.
Wait, how so?
Think about what that memory actually is.
Okay.
It wasn't planned. It wasn't in a guidebook. It holds absolutely zero quantifiable specs value. But it is an indelible, unforgettable emotional atmosphere. That clogged toilet is a moment of pure, undiluted Ryojo.
Oh, wow, that is incredible.
Yeah.
The ego wanted a smooth, controlled transit to the train station. The physical world demanded total surrender and gave him a disaster. But the disaster became the defining anchor to the city.
Exactly. It completely humbles the ego's desire to curate a perfect aesthetic travel memory.
We spend so much money and honestly so much mental energy trying to guarantee that our travels look a certain way. We want the flawless story for the dinner party. We want the majestic sunset photo to prove to our friends we were there.
But reality doesn't care about our curation.
Not one bit. The world gives us food poisoning. The world gives us flat tires and missed connections and crazy cultural misunderstandings that leave us sweating in a bathroom stall.
And those are the moments you actually remember for the rest of your life.
They really are, which brings us right back to the core question we started with today. I really want you to think about this in the context of your own life. When was the last time you completely surrendered to the unscripted, chaotic reality of the physical world?
Not just following a planned detour you found on a travel blog.
Right, a genuine moment where your safety nets failed, your phone was completely dead, and you just had to exist in the uncomfortable reality of what was happening right in front of you.
It is a terrifying prospect for modern travelers. But, as Marcy's experience shows, it might actually be the only way to genuinely experience a place.
What if our most embarrassing, completely undocumented, and utterly unplanned disasters are actually the moments where we are most deeply, authentically alive? I mean, what if the disaster isn't ruining the destination? What if the disaster is the real destination?
It undeniably was for Marcy. He survived Shanghai, but the cost was his dignity.
And the journey is far from over. He has successfully escaped the Golden Arches, yes, but the consequences of his frantic schedule have just locked him inside a slow-moving metal tube for 26 hours.
Oh, the train.
1,400 kilometers across the Chinese countryside. What happens to your mind when you are trapped for over a day with your own crushing guilt, absolutely zero digital distractions, and a train entirely full of complete strangers?
It becomes a psychological pressure cooker.
Next time on our deep dive, we're going to explore that grueling ride. We're going to dig into the psychology of forced confinement and the strange, unexpected connections you make when you have absolutely nowhere else to go. The journey across Asia is just getting started.